Welcome to the Donnie Simpson Show. I am Donnie Simpson, and I have a very special guest today. This guy is so special, he brought his own intro. Check this out.
James Brown.
CBS News special correspondent and CBS Sports anchor James Brown.
Our Hall of Famer.
To take what I have been doing and the equity that I've created in this business, it is all to his glory. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this, our final edition of Fast Break. I'm sure most of us have met at least one person we classify as a real sports nut.
Five-time Emmy Award-winning network broadcaster James Brown, otherwise known as JB, current host of the NFL Today on CBS, and longtime host of Inside the NFL.
I'm James Brown. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. Pleased to be with my three favorite pilgrims.
He's been a part of, everything really in the world of sports broadcasting.
Brown was inducted into the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame in August 2020.
First of all, congratulations, pal.
Thank you so very much.
And hosted the Super Bowl a record-breaking 12 times, including Super Bowl 55 on CBS.
I'm sure this is like a cakewalk for you now.
I never take it for granted.
He's a special correspondent for CBS News and contributes to programs such as 60 Minutes, CBS This Morning, CBS Evening News, and 48 Hours. He's also a founding partner of Major League Baseball's 2019 World Series champion Washington Nationals. Brown's held several other broadcasting roles with mainstream networks, and he's collected a number of honors to go with them, including the 2016 Pete Rozelle Award by the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which recognizes his longtime service to radio and television. He's even been named the Best Studio Host of the Decade.
I am so honored to present this Lifetime Achievement Award to JB.
I know that the real honor indeed goes to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Brown is a graduate of Harvard University, where he's listed in the Harvard Basketball Hall of Fame. If that's not enough, he's a philanthropist, an author, and ordained minister who speaks nationwide. Full of grace and faith, James Brown shares what's made him the man he is today. Please welcome James Brown.
I love that.
Did you see going from a swollen tick to like a rail and everything in between? I need to get back out there with you because you got the gym at home, so I'll come over to your house and work out.
Yeah, we all make those swings, man, like Luther, right?
Yeah, exactly. No question.
Oh, but man, it's so good to have you on the show,
Good to be
JB.
with you, Donnie. It's a blessing to be extended the invitation.
I love you, my brother. Let me say that first.
Hey, and the feeling is mutual, so no question about it.
No doubt. But to have your own intro, man, I never had anybody that had their own intro. That's usually my job, right?
Yeah, and you do a great job.
You have a band playing your theme song, too?
No, well, you know what? When my assistant Tracy was talking with Miss Stevens, I said, I don't want Donnie scrambling for stuff, so just give Miss Stevens all of this, but you all can do whatever you want. I just wanted you to have some material, but
no, I love it.
Boy, did that hairline change so many times over the years. And matter of fact, I got a Comeback of the Year award from when my hairline was here to down here, and the folks like, are you gluing hair on your head? When I was a kid, I used to glue the mustache on,
really?
From the floor. Man, please, the barber would come to our house and cut our hair, and you wanted to be grown up so quickly, so I was gluing mustache, but nah, man, I had to work on this bad boy. Put some grass seed up there, Donnie.
But you still look great, man.
Oh, man,
still doing your thing after all these years, man. I mean, what a career.
Wow.
I mean, just, in the intro, there's so many things for you.
Look who I'm sitting with. Are you kidding me? Talk about so many things. I was humbled when you got the Hall of Fame induction for the NAB, National Association of Broadcasters, and we had just finished covering the Super Bowl out in Las Vegas.
Right.
Man, I was so incredibly humbled to give an introduction, to record one, and the crew, while they were breaking down the set like the night before, they kept that bad boy together because they knew who I was doing the intro for.
Wow, really?
So I'm saying Donnie's impact is global.
Wow.
Period.
Thank
so that
you,
was
JB.
awesome. Yeah.
Well, I was honored. I was honored to have you do that for me. And it played so well because I got the award in Las Vegas. It was just perfect for you to do the handover from, right there in Las Vegas. It just really looked cool, man. What an honor.
It was indeed, and Donnie, we were so happy. But you know what? I guess it was Charlemagne, the Breakfast Club, and so many others. But wait a minute, Donnie isn't in every Hall of Fame as it is now. Every Hall of Fame, because you've been that kind of guy. And the reason that we all love you so much is because you haven't changed one iota. You love everybody. You treat everybody wonderfully. And, hey, I took a lot of notes. Who was it? I don't know whether it was Miss Stevens or somebody was asking me how I got to meet you. But I think it was when you first came to D.C. I mean, Donnie comes to D.C. It was all in the newspapers. It was a big deal. The love bug was coming from Detroit down to D.C. to WKYS. And I don't even know how we connected.
I don't either.
But it's been a blessing, just because it's all just based on friendship and the multi-talented Donnie Simpson. So,
Well, thank you, JB, and the multi-talented James Brown. But, I mean, we've just been friends from the beginning. I tried to find a picture because I wanted to show it on the show today. Couldn't find it. And there's a picture of you. I think we were watching the Super Bowl many years ago. You were over at my house, and I know you remember this picture because you were laying on the floor.
Boy, I was comfortable in your choice.
Oh, you were comfortable.
I had my shoes on, Donnie. I hope I had my shoes on.
No, you didn't have your shoes on. No, you were laying there asleep, laying on one of my daughter's little dolls.
Right.
Or a teddy bear or something. Do you remember that picture?
Dawn had to be
classic.
upset.
It was classic.
I hope I didn't have one of those curl-activated hairdos in to put a stain on your daughter's doll, Donnie.
No, you didn't. But it was just such a classic picture because everybody's watching the game, and And then for you now to have, how many Super Bowls have you called?
You know what? Incredible, Donnie. It's been 11 Super Bowls, which, again, I don't go around. I just want to do a good job at everything I do, an excellent job. And I was humbled when they told me that I had hosted more Super Bowls than anybody else. And, despite the size and girth, your boy didn't play football. I had to study and learn the sport. And the great Bobby Mitchell, God bless him,
I love
with
Bobby.
the Washington then-named Redskins, when CBS indicated that if I was looking to do something in this business full-time, I had to learn all the other sports. Basketball was my sport, but they say, well, no, you really need to learn football and do a number of other sports if you want to make a career so that you're well-rounded. They don't colonize you, marginalize you, and have you just doing one or two sports.
Yeah.
So I did, and Bobby Mitchell took time. He said, if you want to meet me out at the park, their training facility in Ashburn, I'll teach you the game of football. And he did. I would be out there in the mornings, 8:30, sitting there, and he was walking me through all the basics.
Wow.
In preparation for what was going to be my first football telecast. So the company, CBS, was trying to help me become well-rounded. My first football game, Donnie, was in Tampa Stadium. The Buccaneers were hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Now, my boss said, JB, don't get cute. Just do the fundamentals, call a clean game, and everything will be good. This is your opportunity. I go through the first half of football, and I got complacent. Man, football's not that difficult. You don't do that because complacency leads down that abyss, the slide down the abyss. So we get into the third quarter, and they told me, JB, we got a monitor here. Watch the monitor. It'll have the right time and score because the stadium clock could be wrong. Call a clean game. I get into the third quarter. Now I'm a little cocky. Man, the game not that bad. Steve DeBerg, he's a quarterback. He takes his handoff. It takes a snap. Hands off to James Wilder, the running back. He's at the 40. He's at the 45. He's at the 50. He's at the 55. He's at the 60-yard line. My producer got in my ear. Said, JB, there's no such thing as a 60-yard line. Go to commercial. Now I'm shook up. I didn't look at the monitor. I looked up and I compounded the mistake by saying, well, we're going to step aside and take a quick timeout with about 8 minutes and 99 seconds left in the third period of play, and we'll be right back. Man, we came back from commercial break. Thank goodness my partner was a guy who played football at Harvard. We were there together. And he said, for those of you who heard JB say there were 8 minutes and 99 seconds left, he just wanted to see if you could do the mathematical conversion to realize he meant to say 9 minutes and 39 seconds left. Well, thank God I still overcame that mistake because the game was only being televised to the TV truck down in the tunnel and the local Piggly Wiggly store around the corner. So I got a chance to overcome those mistakes, Donnie.
Oh, my God.
True story.
Really?
True. Oh, man, true story.
Yeah.
And Bobby Mitchell, he said he didn't even know me when he heard I made those kind of mistakes. No, I don't know that guy, man. I didn't teach him that. So.
Bobby Mitchell was the greatest. I just want to salute him since you brought his name up, because we lost Bobby just a few years ago. But Bobby was roommate to Jim Brown the years he was in Cleveland.
No
Came here, was the first black to play for the Washington then Redskins.
Yep.
And they were the last team to be integrated, which is the reason a lot of black folks in D.C. don't like Washington. Well, you find some Dallas fans, some of them quote that or cite that because they were the last ones to integrate.
No question about it.
So,
see, folks, that's the multi-talented Donnie Simpson. I know you all know him as the Video Soul King, Hall of Fame in radio, Hall of Fame in TV. Donnie also did sports at NBC Sports here in D.C.
Yeah.
I've already told Lisa and
and Chelsea.
Chelsea, and of course, Miss Pat Stevens, already told them that when I got a chance to do some work in D.C., and they said, well, Donnie Simpson's doing sports on NBC, man, I went to the pharmacy and I said, hey, look, do y'all have any green, what do you call those things?
Contact
lenses I could put in? Donnie, all they had was the blue and the green, so I just dispensed with it, and stayed with my regular brown eyes. But but you were awesome on it though.
Wow.
Awesome.
Well,
yeah.
thank you.
Oh, I remember that well.
Out of all the things I did, that was one I probably felt least comfortable with.
Hey.
Because I'm a sports fan, but I'm not a sports fanatic. I was approached to do some other things in sports, and I wouldn't do it because I felt like, I watch you guys on Sunday, and I'm just amazed. You can talk about the tuck rule or whatever, and it's like everybody automatically knows who was involved, what play. I can't pull it up like that.
But you know what, Donnie, isn't that interesting in terms of knowing your comfort level, even though others may see you, but you made a decision based on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was also asked to write a column for a paper here.
Wow.
And I wouldn't do that because, I understand the celebrity thing, but to me, I have so much respect for these people who really do that, and I'm not one of them. I don't have that kind of ink in my pen, and so I wouldn't do it.
So you know this story well. When Donnie, of course, when he was on radio, he was the king everywhere. So this is WKYS. Donnie was just the top. My daughter was in high school. Everybody loved Donnie Simpson. So Donnie is going to go on vacation. He actually asked me to fill in on his radio show. I was humbled. Now, I don't know music like Donnie, but I figured, if they give me a script and he's got his producers, they can work with me. I told my daughter, she's in 11th grade. She said, Daddy, don't do it. I said, why? She said, baby, I know you and Donnie are friends, but you ain't no Donnie Simpson, She said, and quite frankly, you're going to embarrass me. I said, oh, so it's about you? She said,
absolutely.
Well, let's be real. It is.
Absolutely.
And I didn't do it, so I didn't do it. Yeah, absolutely. I was thrilled that you even asked,
That's
so no question.
Funny. Of course, man. And his daughter's Katrina. How many kids does she have now?
So my daughter and son-in-law are blessed, and certainly we can talk about our grandkids, right?
Oh, yeah.
So my daughter and son-in-law have 4 kids, so I've got 4 grandkids. The boy is 11, the girls are 13, 15, and 17. And I'm telling you, they are sharp. So one of the things, Coach Tony Dungy, I was saying, God, it's for them. I got a sedan, and they're growing up. So Tony Dungy said, the Hall of Fame coach, he said, go out and get yourself like a conversion van. A van, they got 8, 9 seaters in there. I said, well, that sounds like a pretty good idea. So I got a conversion van strictly to pick them up. So I go to school one day, I'm in the line, and they come out and see this big old van. They didn't tell me. They said, Mommy, would you please tell Pop-Pop, they call me Pop-Pop, would you please tell Pop, don't come pick us up in that van because everybody else is in cars and SUVs. So I said, okay. The next day, I went to pick them up in my SUV. Donnie, have you seen the book bags that these kids have?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it looks like they're going on a vacation for like a month.
I know.
And they're sitting back there and move your book bag out of the way. Can you move it here? Put it on the floor. I'm like, they got a trunk. Why didn't they put it in the trunk? Then my daughter calls me later on that night. They said, come back tomorrow with the van. So they named it Big Wheels, but Big Wheels is what I picked them up in. But I get a chance just to hear how they're growing up, what they're talking about, to contextualize a lot of the issues of the day that they're talking about, not to dictate to them, but to stimulate a conversation to force them to think through things on a deeper level so that they can start to trust themselves in terms of how they're hearing what they're hearing, whether it makes sense, because I believe that there is a true north, there's always truth, so that they can figure out those things on their own, because, hey, they're going to be confronted with a whole lot of things, as you well know, having raised two.
No question. No question. I remember when Katrina went to college.
Oh, boy.
And you had some guys go with you.
Absolutely.
So, Howie Long.
Yep. Absolutely.
Was Terry Bradshaw?
Absolutely. I wanted the guys on campus to know, hey, this is forbidden fruit here, you know? So check this out. We go to school, and as you well know, it's freshman year, and I'm dealing with this. Now, Frida, her mother, was the one who did the job. I'm transparent. I talk to a lot of young men because I had my daughter out of wedlock, but she is my daughter. And I told her she was going to always be my daughter until whoever it was that she was going to get married to. But I had made a commitment that I would not get married until my daughter got old enough. So that was a serious part of the show, right? So, and it's real. I'm real transparent about that. I said I wouldn't get married until my daughter was old enough to give her approval on what I was going to do, because she is my responsibility and will be for as long as she's unmarried.
Yeah.
And so when my wife and I, Dorothy, when I knew I wanted to get married, I said, Katrina, but I need your approval. And she looked at me and said, Daddy, does it really make a difference what I have to say? I said, absolutely. She sat there and looked at me with no smile on her face for like a minute. Man, it felt like 9 years. She was just trying to bust my chops. She said, yeah, your wife is okay in my book, you know, or wife to be. So that's what it was. But that was still my daughter. So I remember doing an interview with a pastor in East Orange, New Jersey, Perth Amboy, New Jersey, up at Church International Cathedral, I think it was called. And I adopted the same attitude he did, because he said one of his church members had come to him, did the proper thing, and said, Bishop, I'd like very much to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage, so I'm doing the right thing and coming to talk to you. And so the bishop said, okay, I'm really glad you did it the right way, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to bring me all of your medical records for the last 10 years. Bring them to me so I can view them. Number two, I want you to go and have a neurological checkup so I can make sure my daughter isn't marrying a crazy guy. And if you pass that, everything will be good.
Wow.
Bought the records. He said, okay, all good. He said, one last thing. That's my baby. So you want to marry her, treat her well. If it doesn't work out, bring her back home. Because if you lay a hand on her, I got two guys who just got saved last week, ex-thugs, and they haven't been filled with the Holy Ghost. They will pay you a visit. So that's exactly what I said to my son-in-law. And I asked my daughter, now I'm a minister, I was thinking I could officiate the wedding. I said, Katrina, why you didn't ask me? She said, Daddy, because you're a crybaby, and I wanted to get through the wedding in the time allotted without you up there crying. So I walked down the aisle, and people asked me, man, why are you looking so mad? I said, man, I'm just trying to keep from crying, man. Chill out, man, you know. So, but she's got a good husband, and things are going well. So, yeah.
I remember, of course, I've heard you tell this story so many times about when our daughters had a sleepover.
I'm glad you're telling the story, because Dawn, your daughter, told me, JB, please don't go ahead.
Yeah. Because my daughter comes back home. She spent the night with JB's daughter.
The staff, you're going to love this. Yeah. That's his daughter. Go ahead.
And so I guess it was my wife, Pam, who noticed that a pair of her panties were missing. They're like 8 years old,
Rocky.
Right?
That's right.
Like 8 years old.
Go ahead, yeah.
So I called JB.
And what did you say?
He said, hey, these panties have to be accounted for.
You told me to have them back home to you about 5 o'clock. I am so glad you're telling that story, because Dawn told me years ago, JB, please don't tell that story anymore. So this is on Daddy, but that's a true story.
It's a true story.
That's a true story.
I got one more favorite moment that I shared with you. This is with my granddaughter.
Okay.
And this was Nora, who's 17 now. She's my oldest. Yeah, she's 17 now.
Holy cow.
And that day I came to visit you, she was 3.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I remember.
And I was so excited because we went to visit my daughter, and this is not my daughter's daughter, it's my son's daughter. And she was ready to start teaching school. So we went by the school. It was the first day I had Nora by myself. So I was so excited.
And you had your grin. You could have put a banana in your mouth sideways.
No
you were
question.
grinning all over the place. Yep.
So on the way home, I don't want to take her home because it's like I still got some time with her. So I called JB, man, what are you doing? Nothing, I'm home, I said, well, I'm going to stop by her with my granddaughter.
All right.
So we go by there, and we sit with JB for like an hour.
Okay.
So before we leave, I said, well, Nora, do you have to go to need to go to the bathroom? No, I'm fine. So JB asked her, Nora, do you have to go to the bathroom? No, I'm fine. JB's assistant, Elizabeth,
God
says,
bless her, yeah.
Nora, you have to see this bathroom. It's so beautiful. She goes, okay, but I just want to look.
Right. I just want to look.
Which was so funny at 3 years old. She's like, I've been around. I know this okey doke. It's pretty.
Hey, try my grandson. So he was probably about 8 years old at this time. And I'm over at the house. And I've learned now around the grandkids, don't telegraph everything by saying what you have to do.
Yeah.
So now, when I say I have to go to the bathroom, I mean, there's not a lot of margin for error, okay? So I'm talking to the folks, and I said, Katrina, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom. My grandson pops up. He said, no, me first. And he ran by me in the bathroom, and he's in there, and your boy, I'm having a fit. Now, I guess he could have gone upstairs or downstairs, but I wanted that bathroom. When he came out, I said, JJ, his name is John James Walker. I said, JJ, when Pop says he has to go to the bathroom, that's a dangerous move if you go by before me. You really have to help me out and let me go first. So he said, okay. Yeah. He said, but there's one upstairs, right? Oh, grandkids.
Now you say they call you Papa?
They call me Pop.
Pop.
Yeah. Hey,
but I have you in my phone as Papa Chocolate. Where's that come from?
Oh, man, Nate Burleson. So the multi-talented Nate Burleson at CBS Sports, who does a Nickelodeon broadcast with young Dylan.
Yeah.
So all the young folk know who he is because he's hip. That's why he has to do the interview with you. Obviously, he's one of the co-hosts on CBS, the NFL Today. He's a co-host on CBS Mornings. And now he's hosting Hollywood Squares.
He's busier than Snoop.
Oh, please. He and Snoop need to meet. So Drew Barrymore, it's her production company, a reprise of Hollywood Squares. And you know what? The show is good. Nate is quick.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very quick with it. So he's the one who's out there doing so many different shows, but the kids love him because he really is pretty much down to earth.
Yeah. He's very cool. I mean, I haven't met him in person, but you put him on the phone with me a couple times.
He knows you.
Yeah.
He said, do I know? Because he played for the Detroit Lions.
Yes, sir.
You know what?
Yes,
so
sir.
He knew the love bug from back in the day. He knew the story anyway.
Yeah. Now, so you mentioned earlier about doing football. I mean, everybody knows you from, you've done so many things, from 60 Minutes to, the news on CBS and so many different things, but football. But you're a basketball player.
I know. But you know what? So, as you well know, men in general, ex-athletes and ex-coaches in particular, they are not a sensitive group of people.
Yeah.
So, when I started doing football, and it wasn't by design, your boy just started, swelling up with everything that I was eating and everything. And so Howie Long said, people were asking him, hey, man, what offensive line or defensive line did he play on,
Right.
And I'm like, that's not a compliment, So that's when I was working, losing weight, looking like Al Sharpton one time, and the next time looking like, Refrigerator Perry,
Yeah.
So, but I love the game. I love the people with whom I work, no matter the sport. And I think what's been important to me is pretty much the attitude that you have. When I work with these guys, they are pros. My job is to understand the sport well, know the storylines and even the sidebar stories, but to get to know my colleagues well so I can set them up. My job is to be the setup man, but also to know enough about them, their strengths and weaknesses, so I can elicit the best out of them.
Yeah.
The old school expression, a rising tide lifts all ships. If my guys are feeling comfortable, I know what's going on in the game, I know the storylines, I understand the sport well enough, then I can ask intelligent questions of them to pull it out of them so they can shine. That's what I was doing. And getting to know your talent, I tell this story about Jimmy Johnson. This is when I was at Fox, working with Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, and Coach Jimmy Johnson from the Cowboys. Jimmy Johnson gets up. I mean, the car service is not going to pick him up to 6 o'clock in the morning. He's up at 2 a.m. He's an early riser.
He's like me.
Oh, and punctual. Oh, don't be late. So Jimmy's up. But now the downside of that, doing football, a given market may only get one game, but we're doing 2 games a day, so it's a double header every Sunday somewhere. By the time the second game starts, Jimmy Johnson, he's nodding, you know, and his water is Heineken, you know, so he'll tell me bring him a Heineken, you know, and Jimmy's got about three or four Heinekens, you know, but so I'm ad-libbing during the second game saying, hey, we got a great game coming up in the second half here. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys. Coach, there's no question. You know these 2 teams well. When I'm starting to ask him a question and he's giving me the deer in the headlight look, well, I'm not going to embarrass my guy.
Yeah.
So I said, well, Coach, I'm going to hold that question and come back to you in a minute after I bring in the chair, you know. That's my way of saying be ready when we come back.
Right.
So it's knowing your talent, and you never want to embarrass them, you know.
Yeah,
Terry
right.
Bradshaw, man, an absolute crack up.
Yeah.
You met him. An absolute crack up.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing a game, and I'm setting the stage for him, and it's Pittsburgh and Dallas that we're supposed to be talking about that's on Fox's air. But there's another game that's on CBS's air that's pretty good. But I don't give him what the matchup is because I know he knows what it is. Terry, we got a great game coming up in the second half of our doubleheader. What do you think? He starts talking about the game that's going to be on CBS. So after he finishes, I said, Terry, but that's on the other network. He says, it makes no difference. It's still going to be a good game. You know? But only Terry Bradshaw can get away with that.
Yeah,
you know?
no
question.
No doubt. But you have to share the story about how, you know, you're like one of the most sought after high school players, go to college, make it to the NBA, but when you got cut. I mean, because that's such an inspirational story to me, because I remember you telling me how bad you felt, how awful that moment was in your life. But look at you now.
So having grown up here in D.C., with all due respects to Spingarn and the Baltimore schools that your colleagues over here went to, Weston and someplace in Howard County, I forget the school. Anyway, so DeMatha was where I went to play basketball, and we had a powerhouse team each of the years that I was there. So I was humbled to have over 200 athletic scholarship offers to go to college. Wow. My parents, my mother and father, owe the world to them. God bless them both. Owe the world to them. Like every other parent, they wanted their kids to do better than them in the game of life.
Absolutely.
And mom and dad said academic success will be the foundation upon which you could build. So you go to the best school you could. Now, my mom was a homemaker. She always wanted to stay home to raise her 5 kids. Mom Brown was no joke.
Oh.
I called her the sergeant.
Yeah, I know.
Not to her face, but I called her the sergeant. Okay, Ma Brown was no joke.
Yeah.
My father, he was the breadwinner. He worked at the post office and he drove a taxi cab. And during the holidays, he would work at Avis Rent-A-Car out at Reagan National Airport to make a little extra money for the 5 kids. So they were awesome, but they kept saying, go to a good school. Well, I'm thinking, okay, if I can go to a good school, I will do that. So I was blessed, and I saw a letter on my coach's desk from Harvard. And I'm saying, well, if I can get in, that's where I ought to go. They keep telling me to go to a good school. But I wasn't thinking that they were going to have to pay for that because Harvard doesn't give out athletic scholarships. I got 200 athletic scholarship offers to pay the full load. Wow. But my parents said, no, you go to the best school. And I can only imagine how hard they worked.
Oh, I'm sure.
To put me through there.
Wow.
So, Donnie, much like you, when you got your Hall of Fame induction and all the other accolades, I never had Queen Latifah stand up on stage and say, oh, I love those green eyes and that dulcet tone of Donnie Simpson, some award show. I'll never forget that. Ain't nobody ever said that about me, okay? So, but whenever I get the opportunity to speak on what has happened in the game of life, my mother and father, because my mother always said, excellence runs in this family. And it's not like I was a charter member of Mensa. Your boy had to work hard. But she said her words were, success is 98% perspiration. And then
Wow.
the other part might be whatever you're gifted with.
Yeah.
So her point was, you work your buns off and you'll do that. And I've never, ever forgotten it. So I owe everything to my mother and father who laid. My roommate in college was, actually he was my suite mate. Everybody says roommate, but Dr. Cornell West.
Yeah.
And Dr. West, he stayed in a quad next door to ours. We had a quad, connected by that common door, but we always kept it open because we were flowing back and forth in each other's room. And Cornell West, and now he is literally a member of Mensa.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the bookmobile, I did a story on him for 60 Minutes, and I did a story, the bookmobile driver would drive through the neighborhood where he grew up in Sacramento and all the other surrounding neighborhoods, had about 200 books on the mobile van, on the mobile bus. Cornell West read every one of those books.
Wow.
And he could tell you what page such and such concept or principle was being discussed. Brilliant. We loved him, but we hated being in class with him. Because we took chemistry one year, the average score was about 50, and we had a party the night before. Sly and the Family Stone were playing. Cornell would come to the party with books under both arms, but when Sly and the Family Stone came on, he put the books down, and he was up doing the Mechanical Man, the whole 9 yards, and then he'd go back and speed read chemical concepts. We took the test the next day. He got a perfect score. We wanted to lay him out.
I know that's right.
Because the rest of us had an average score of 50, But this guy was brilliant. But it was a wonderful experience there with some wonderful, brilliant people.
Yeah. Well, Cornell, man, he's just so. One of my favorite quotes in life ever is from him, where he says, "You can't lead the people if you don't first love the people." Wow. And that was just so powerful to me, and I never forgot it.
Look, he was a walking dictionary and thesaurus. I remember asking him because when he was at Harvard, the president at the time, I guess my interpretation, thought that the professorial staff should have a certain kind of dignity and royalty about them. Cornell was and is just down to earth.
No doubt.
And he spent a lot of time going to hip hop conventions as well.
Yeah.
Because he always wanted to be a positive influence on folk. Even, trying to encourage you guys, hey, you don't have to engage in misogynist lyrics that are speaking disrespectfully about women. Your sound, your beat, your dance, everything is awesome. But that's the way he dealt with it, when they asked him. I said, well, Cornell, how come you're not out front more? And here goes the brilliant one. He said, you know what? It's better to be called up on stage than to be sent down off of stage. Now, I went and looked in the Bible, and that scripture is there. Better to be called up by the king than to be sent back down. Cornell is brilliant and is as caring and as loving a guy as he is brilliant a guy.
Yeah. First time I met him, he was on my radio show. And I have to tell you.
You had him as a guest?
Had him as a guest.
How did it go, Donnie?
I was so intimidated because, for 3-4 days, I was just nervous. Maya Angelou is the only other person that I felt that way about.
I hear you.
Now, it's interesting that they were both wordsmiths, but I was just, I just felt like I'm not worthy. I'm not smart enough to talk to these people. And I was just intimidated. Cornell comes in, first thing he does, gets down on his knees. Brother Simpson. Not
surprised.
What an honor.
Not surprised.
If it wasn't for you, wouldn't be no BET. I was like, whoa. He reminded me so much of my oldest brother, Calvin. And I was just immediately comfortable. He was just awesome, man. Awesome guy.
He just was real from the get.
Real. Just as real as could be, JB.
And that's exactly who he is. He's genuine and real. For all of his intellect, the man is as down to earth, and he can talk to the brother out on the street who's trying to make it. But, hey, he came over to speak at our church one year. He didn't ask, well, what's the honorarium going to be? How big is your church? Our church was, medium size. Yeah. He didn't ask for any of that. And he said, JB, I'll be more than glad to do it. He comes over. He doesn't put a Bible up on the pulpit. He's got everything, and he delivered a sermon for 45 minutes that was simply Brilliant.
Wow.
So now I'm taking him to the airport down to Dulles. And I said, well, where are you flying to next? He says, I'm going over to France. I said, going over to France? What's going on over in France? He's the keynote speaker at the gathering, I believe the intellectual, it might have been like Jean-Paul Sartre. So this is a global community of intellectuals having their meeting over there. Cornell was the keynote speaker. Never said a thing. He made this stop to do that at our local church before flying the next day to France to be the keynote. I know that there's some brilliant people in the world, none more so than Cornell.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, I have to say this because I know people don't really know this, but I went to Harvard too. To speak once. I was just speaking. I wasn't a student there.
Love it. Talk to me.
No, I'm just, it was just such an honor to be there. It's like Harvard.
Donnie,
man.
now, it's not like I know everything about you because I don't. Talk to me. What happened?
No, it was just speaking about my career in radio and stuff. But I usually just leave it at that.
Ms.
I went to Harvard.
You come over here and smack him. Man, please. Donnie.
Yeah.
Donnie, you have had more accolades across the spectrum. And the reason I'm so thrilled to brag on you and to talk about you in the relationship, as I was telling Nate Burleson in the studio, I said, Donnie is the most real and down. Man, please, who can pick up a Rolodex and call between Elton John, Jimmy Jam, whoever, at the time, God bless her, Whitney Houston, and but they're all just, for anybody and everybody that talks about you, it's just genuine. Yeah, as a matter of fact, when we were in Detroit to do the game, who were they playing? I don't even recall. The Detroit Lions were playing there. Anyway, Otis Williams.
Temptations.
The remaining original.
Yep, the only one.
And I was talking to him, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, well, you know what, man, no question about it. Now I mean, Motown, please, we were the deal. All of us, all of those talented acts." I said, "Well, now I'm bragging. My boy Donnie Simpson, didn't he start in his mother's or his father's record shop or whatever? The Love Bug, who was that? Everybody knows Donnie Simpson." And he said, "Well, Donnie would know the story that Marvin Gaye fancied himself a football player."
Oh yeah.
And Lem Barney and company, they were going to have him out to practice one day to see if he had any kind of game.
Yeah.
They wore him out. I could hear, I know that the lyrics from, what is the song? Make You Want to Holler, what's the song there?
Inner City Blues?
Hey, I'm sure those lyrics came from that time being on the football field because he was black and blue when he left off that field singing the blues, no
I used to see Marvin running down the street with his hoodie on trying to get ready for that, Well, Lem Barney tried to talk me into trying out for the Lions because I used to work out with him.
I
used to work, we used to do 2-a-days, man, and he says, Donnie, this is the hardest part. And you can do this. So I went out to camp. I wasn't thinking about it, but I went out to camp with him first day, man, of training camp. And I saw them refrigerators walking around there.
Donnie, you say refrigerators?
Oh, no. Ain't none of them boys ever getting their hands on me.
Smart move.
Oh, no.
They could never.
And that's when they were small, JB.
I hear you.
That's when
I
they
know.
maxed out at 265.
I know.
Now they 360.
But guess what? At 265, they still hit.
Oh, I know.
And they were nasty.
Well, they weren't going to hit me.
It was smart move. Deacon Jones. It was Brett Favre who had the record for the number of consecutive game starts in NFL history up to that point in time. Deacon Jones was, if the boy had been playing in our era, ain't no way in the world he would have had that kind of record. I said, Deacon, what would you have done? He said, I got into him and knocked him out before the game. But now Deacon was the same guy. Donnie, back in they did everything.
Oh, yeah.
He had a piece of metal about the size of the palm of his hand, taped up, because they would tape their hands. And he had a head slap in football. He's on the defensive line. When the ball was snapped, he would take it and bang, hit the player upside his helmet. The helmet is ringing. The guy's got a headache for like 4 quarters, but they couldn't tell because of all the crowd noise.
Yeah.
The only reason they found out that he had this illegal aid in his hand was they were playing a game out in Oakland, and there wasn't a big crowd there. And the first play, Deacon Jones came and the offensive player that was trying to block him, bam! And it reverberated to the top of the stage. Referee stopped the game, went over, threw him out of the game.
Wow,
really? Or at least made him take it off, though. But those guys, they would do any and everything.
I know.
Tough sport.
Earlier we were talking about Bobby Mitchell and just some of the stories Bobby would tell me. I mean, it's like, like you get your pinky toe over the sideline now, and it's a flag if you hit somebody. He said back then, man, he said we would be 10, 15 yards off the field. Boom!
No question
You
about
go
it.
to the ref, and the ref would go, play ball.
That's exactly what it was.
Right.
But I'm so glad, and you mentioned Bobby Mitchell's name again, because he is one of the all-time greats. Yes, he's in the Hall of Fame, but what he endured coming to D.C. as the first black, and you know that they were picketing, folks were picketing around then D.C. Stadium, some neo-Nazis, or Nazis, period, that were picketing, protesting the fact that Bobby Mitchell was playing for the then-named Washington Redskins, whose owner vowed that he would never have a person of color play for his team.
Right.
And so, but as you well know, I don't know whether it was Robert F. Kennedy, God bless him, who said, but the stadium is on federal property. Mm-hmm. And if you, as the owner, federal property, we cannot discriminate. If you don't have an African-American playing for your team, we will pull your lease.
Yeah.
And that was the reason that Bobby Mitchell wound up playing for the team. But an awesome guy who gave his best and should have been a general manager for the then Washington Redskins. I was a reporter here during that time, and I was so excited about the possibility that he was going to be the general manager, and when he didn't get the team. But this, again, reflective of the time, he didn't get the job. Yeah. And he said, I understand. He said, because I know that the owner would want to feel comfortable carrying somebody that looked like him when he went to the cocktail parties and the like. I said, Bobby Mitchell, what you've done, you could go in any circle, in any environment, and be respected for all that you did. And he and his wife, Miss Gwen, as a players caller, she's still with us and doing well.
Yeah.
They were royalty in this town, and I'm very thankful for all that they went through as a family to pave a path for all the rest.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And Bobby was in that famous picture when all those great black athletes, Jim Brown, Kareem
Abdul-Jabbar,
right.
1968, they're in Cleveland. And the reason for that meeting, and John Wooten, the big guy standing on the back row, who was a blocking lineman for Jim Brown, and he was the one that orchestrated that meeting. That he was the one that orchestrated that meeting for Jim Brown with all of these iconic black athletes. And the reason that they had convened in Cleveland was to talk to a young Muhammad Ali. I don't know if he was Cassius Clay then, but no, he had to be Muhammad Ali because he was objecting to being drafted into the service as a conscientious objector. Mm-hmm. And he was being threatened with going to prison. And so all of the athletes were trying to convince him, a then 25-year-old Muhammad Ali, to go ahead and serve his time. But by the time that young 25-year-old Muhammad Ali got finished talking with him about why he was unalterably opposed to the war and how he wouldn't go out there and kill somebody else on that, they said, you know what, he convinced us. And that's when they stood behind him. He did have his titles, of course, stripped from him, but he was very serious and genuine about his objection.
You're a minister. I mean, a lot of people know that's, well, I don't want to ask what took you to that because I think I know.
That's
I mean,
fair,
it's mama. I mean, it's upbringing. I knew your mom. And
the sergeant,
knew the sergeant, man. But, obviously that's very important to you, that part of your life. I mean, that's number one.
It is the
with
bedrock.
all these other things that you do.
Absolutely. It is the bedrock foundation. My mother was very key in there. Look, my mother was like, she was the head chick, and all her little chickadees, wherever she went, we went with her because mama was no joke. And she wouldn't follow and embrace anything if it wasn't the truth. So the fact that she was taking us around to learn, as I started to learn more about what the truth of the Word of God is in the Bible, There was just no choice. You know, in the world of athletics or anything, your profession, there are fundamentals that one needs to internalize in order to be successful. Same truth with respect to if anybody does a genuine search to understand what the truth is and the seriousness of it, they will see that those principles, precepts, and promises are the foundation for success in any and everything else. I can speak to those things in terms of how it's led me along, not only my career path, but more importantly, in the game of life and even the attitude. And I wasn't, you know, a born-again Christian at the time that, again, I had my daughter out of wedlock, but that was a precursor to me understanding that there was a right way to do things. And even as I talk to youngsters now, I mean, you know, I don't even know what the expression, your boy is absolutely legitimately square when guys will say, well, yeah, you know, how did they say it, Donnie, my baby's mama, you know, I'm not my baby's mama. Man, boy, that's your baby, period, you understand? That's yours. So, and that's a serious responsibility, and I just want to make sure that we live up to it. But it has been the foundation stone in everything that I do. I don't go around trying to beat people over the head with the Bible, but I will live it and model it. I understand that my company didn't hire me to preach and proselytize, but it's who I am. And that's what you're going to get. And it's to love everybody, you know, to love on everybody, because the word says, God says about those who believe in him, that we, in fact, if somebody accuses us of being a Christian, there better be enough evidence to convict us. But this is how they will know that you belong to me, that you show love one to another. Real basic tenets and precepts that I believe in, and I know for a fact that it's the deal.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Hey, I love, one of the reasons I love your show is as popular as you still are, but when you were doing radio, the song that you close your show out with every day, man, I can hit the temps, I get it, everybody, Riri, everybody, but you close the show out on a note that hit to the core. That I was sold on you.
Yeah, right about, man. Well, the song is Jesus is Love by the Commodores, when Lionel Richie was up front with them. And I played that for like 14, 15 years, every day at the end of the show.
How did that come about, Donnie?
Well, I remember listening to that album when it first came out. And I was so moved when that song came on. And I thought, wow, how cool is that? That, you know, here I'm hearing all these rhythms and beats and everything, you know, dance songs, but then at the end, you give it back. You know, you give it back to whom it belongs, whom it all belongs. And I just thought that's so cool, and I wanted to do that. And I had another piece of input to that. When I was in Detroit, there was a woman named Martha Jean the Queen who was on the radio there on my station. And every day at noon, she played Reverend James Cleveland Without a Song. And I remember getting out of school, I couldn't wait to hear that song every day. So it was the idea was kind of stolen from her too, to play this, you know, gospel song. And then I think about my mom, because my mom always, I used to tell her my first ambition in life was to be a Baptist minister. You know, it was first ambition.
You know how big your church would have been?
I don't know.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you know, Mom would say right until she died, she would say that you're still going to be a minister. And she said, baby, you trying to run away from something you can't get away from.
Ooh, Mama said that.
Oh, yeah. And then she would also say that you get to, just simply by saying God bless you and playing that song.
Absolutely.
She said, you're ministering from a pulpit bigger than the church could give you anyway.
Which
this
is
important.
What I hear, if I'm hearing correctly, I only know Denzel Washington tangentially.
Yeah.
But you can see the evolution in his career and where he is now.
Yep.
Even when he shared, he was asking his pastor, am I supposed to be a pastor? He said, no, you're ministering on the pulpit that you're on right now.
I love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, you let me know when Rocky hits you with the time.
Oh, he's already hit me. We're overtime now.
Oh, we're overtime?
No, man,
right,
please, man.
Well, I just have to ask, Donnie, because it was in your DNA when you got into the business so young, hopefully they can cut the show up the way they want, but when you were so young, and I remember, I may not have it accurately remembered, But when you were doing radio, there seemed to be a movement afoot where maybe music programming followed a formula, if you will, formulaic suggestions as to what kind of music you're. Donnie, but it was in your DNA. That was who you are. Did that ever cause a challenge for you? Because you programmed your own stuff. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, I've always believed that people's ears are broader than programmers give them credit for. You know, it's not natural to hear the same thing all the time. People don't want to hear the same 8 songs all day. And I know I don't, and I love music.
No question.
I don't care what it is, man.
No question.
I mean, if you with me on the golf course, bro, I'm telling you, I always have it on a random. And I will go from Snoop Dogg to James Cleveland to Vladimir Horowitz to Blake Shelton, just like that. And it all makes sense to me. It all feels right to me. I just like music, you know? So, yeah, there have been times when, I mean, I could share some stories with you. Rocky will kill me because we don't have time. But, you know, where I've had confrontations, if you will, with programmers because they don't understand that, you know? I will do this real quick. I'll try to do it real quick. Garth Brooks, all right? I keep seeing this guy's name. I don't know who he is. It's like Garth Brooks. But I look on the Billboard charts. He's got 6 albums on the left side of the charts, meaning top 50 in the country at the same time. Behind him are little pyramids, which denote 1 million in sales. Behind that, numbers, 12, 8, 7. I said, this dude's got like 67 million albums sold just on this chart right now. I need to know who this is. So I went to the store, bought 2 albums by him, 2 CDs, go home and listen. Next morning, I go on the radio, and I said, man, you know, this guy Garth Brooks is just so huge. I want to know who he is. Man, I love this dude. Check this out. And this is on a black radio station, right? So I play snippets of 3 songs. It takes me 3-4 minutes, but you know, I've never been afraid to play what I want to play. Never have. I feel like if my show dies because of a song I played, then I shouldn't have been here anyway. You know, that's what I've always felt, because of one song. So I get off the air, the program director comes to me and says, why did you play that? Why did you play this? You know, I said, you know, you don't talk to me about music. But I don't want to know why. I said, Barbara, you don't talk to me about music. It was in every contract I had. For my hours, I controlled everything. So she goes to the general manager. He comes to me. Donnie, why would you play? I said, look, with all due respect, you do not talk to me about music. And I left, went home. The next day, JB, front page of the Washington Post, they do a 3/4 page piece on Garth Brooks in the style section. First line in this article is, how big is Garth Brooks? He crossed over to the Donnie Simpson Show yesterday. And management, did they not acknowledge? No, of course not. But it was just such a laugh to me. I mean, and it was like, you know, when you see perfect timing like that, that's God. You know, it's like, let me show you. You couldn't buy space like this. You couldn't buy that. Look at, you know, for just being who you are. This is, you know. So
Even
anyway.
in the world of sports, if it's Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, whomever,
yeah,
you recognize genius for what it is and not to try to put it in a box.
That's right. Absolutely.
And that
JB.
is who
Absolutely.
you have been all along. It's in your DNA. And before Rocky says you will never invite JB back to the show again, I'm just going to say, Donnie, thank you for sharing your genius with the world.
Thank you, JB. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, bro.
Love you, man.
Yeah, I love you too, man. And please
Awesome.
give your wife, Dorothy,
I sure
my
will.
love. His wife, by the way, I've always told him this, and I've told her this, the nicest person on earth. Love her to death, or to life.
And as I've said about your gorgeous wife, who loves Donnie Simpson, she modeled it well. All right, Rocky's gonna come snatch me. You know, what is the old, like the shepherd's hook? Yeah, he's
from the Apollo.
Go ahead, Donnie.
JB, thank you, man. It's
My
so
pleasure.
good to hang with
My
you, man. I
pleasure.
really
Absolutely.
appreciate you, brother. God bless you.
God bless you, too.
All right. James Brown, my guest here on the Donnie Simpson Show today. We'll see you next time. God bless you, too. Peace.